Last week, we took a look at Skate It for the Wii, and found that it actually survived the conversion to a weaker technology fairly well. But what if we go one step further, to the Nintendo DS? The developers implied that the PS2 wasn't powerful enough to achieve their vision, so what about something more on par with the PS1? Honestly, I was not looking forward to playing this game, but let's take a look. The graphics in this game are both really good and way too bad. When you first fire up the game, it's very impressive. Your character looks realistic enough. They didn't go with the cartoony feel of the Wii version, although it would be hard to tell. The animation is very good, and there are other skaters and even cars on screen, a fact that you will come to hate. The hardware limitations start to show when you play it though. With the extremely low resolution of 256 by 192, it can be really difficult to tell what an obstacle is as you roll up to it. Very frequently I found myself running into stuff because it's hard to judge distance that well. And another issue is the textures. Again, for the system they're good, but without shadows or dirt or leaves or anything, it all looks the same. It's hard to tell if there are stairs in front of you. Obstacles sometimes get lost and you run right into them. The Skate series is all about controls, and the DS version is no different. On the touchscreen there's a skateboard, at least I think that's what that is. Look at the bolt pattern here. It looks like a skateboard for aliens or something. Was it really that hard to find a real skateboard to compare with? Anyway, you touch next to the board with the stylus to push, and the tricks are done with various gestures. You might start with a line toward the board to scoop, then flick outward to flip. It all makes sense. You'll still find yourself scribbling uncontrollably and doing random tricks half the time, but in theory it works. You can also do grabs with the shoulder buttons, and you steer with a D-pad. In career mode, you have a few types of events. There are film challenges, games of skate, checkpoint challenges, death races, and on-the-spot challenges. Every last one of them has a major flaw. Let's take a look at them. Wait, that's called the taco? I thought it was the wave.
Trick off the wave.
The film challenges are pretty simple. Do X number of grinds or grabs or whatever, and get a certain score total. This is familiar from other games in the series. The tragic flaw is the restart time. If you bail, the challenge is instantly lost, and you have to wait a while to reset. Then you have to hit the film button, then wait for a countdown where you automatically stop, then you can go again. Then you'll do a random nollie heel flip. The game will very frequently draw a line between where you hit the film button and when you start to push. I have no idea why, but get used to it. On the spot is simple. Just get a high score on a certain object. The difficulty varies, but it's usually not that bad. The console version of the game has an own and kill score level if you want an extra challenge. That's missing from this version of the game, although I don't really mind. The actual challenges themselves are fine, but the lack of control precision can cause issues. But we'll get to that in a minute. Next are the games of skate, probably the worst part of the game, and there are tons of them. You're dropped in front of a gap of some kind, and you have to set and match tricks just like a normal game of skate. The only difference is that the rotation direction doesn't matter, but I can understand that given the general audience of this game. These games are more tedious than difficult, but there is a bit of unintended challenge at times. In some games you have tons of airtime, letting you do 360s, 540s, and 720s. Add in every trick in regular and nollie stance, and you have quite a few tricks you can do without repeating, and it's easier to stump your opponent with a huge rotation. But other times, it's a small gap with only enough room for a 180. That cuts the number of tricks down substantially. Doing all the regular tricks with a 180 just isn't enough to score a letter. You'll end up playing for 10 or 20 minutes just doing everything you can think of and hoping that the computer will mess up. Another unintended obstacle is the imprecise timing. You get just enough room to push a couple times, then you have to do the trick right away. The problem is that different tricks have different times to draw, and you have to pause over the board for a second to get the right amount of pop. And sometimes the line you draw skips and restarts, making you do the wrong trick. That's a major problem in a game of skate. In this one game, there were a few glitches too. Grabs don't seem to count, and ollie rotations only work sometimes. Next is the checkpoint challenges, which is the real worst part of the game. There are gates spread out through the level, and you have to race to get through them all first. In addition to the control issues, you'll run into a new frustration, locking into grinds. Snapping onto rails automatically is nice in general. It helps overcome some of the imprecise steering, but it will be your worst enemy here. Sometimes in these races you'll have to ollie over something, and 85% of the time you'll lock into a grind and then it's just stuck. It's a race, you don't have time for that. And the races are really long. This first one is just under 2 minutes for a winning run. There are a ton of opportunities to get stuck on stuff in 2 minutes. Just like the games of Skate, this is just another tedious chore to get through. You know what's even worse? The death races. You thought the checkpoints were bad. Try one of these. There are fewer ollies and accidental grinds to worry about, but you have a fresh frustration: the other racers. These guys are all completely scripted, meaning they'll do the exact same thing in every run, including the places they fall. The exact same thing, meaning there's no room for any collisions. When you run into them, you either stop dead or bail, and they continue on exactly the same as they always do. They'll even teleport into your path when they reset and make you fall. This is a race. You can't get way ahead of them and try to make space, and if you let them get ahead of you, you'll lose. So you end up retrying a million times just hoping you'll randomly get through without a collision. And you will, but it'll take a while. Unfortunately, the game really loves these races. It's the only way to get a wheel sponsor. You know how much Jake Brown and the Richta team love to race down hills. There are also contests in this game. By far, the absolute worst event is Best Trick. Let me show you why. I almost gave up playing this game when I reached this part. It took me forever to get a decent trick in. Whew, okay, I finally made it. What? Round 2? Luckily, the frustration depends on the spot they choose to put you in. A handrail isn't that bad because everyone is going in the same direction. The jam events are pretty much the same. You can easily run into people, but they're more spread out and going in different directions. You'll end up losing your line fairly often, but in the end it doesn't really make a difference. You see, the designers knew that this was a problem, and they had an ingenious solution: make all the goals really easy. With the Best Trick contest, it's really not all that hard to get a winning score. They know you'll waste most of your time being run over, but this doesn't really work on some of the more open areas. The final contest of the game is incredibly easy. I won first try by a large margin even though I bailed a bunch of times. It's just that I didn't run into anybody. One last contest event is the Mega Ramp. Luckily you only need one good run because it's really tough to get in a clean one. The timing is really difficult with the stylus controls. When exactly does he pop? How far exactly does a line have to travel outside of the board to trigger the trick? When you're flying toward a ramp at 40 miles an hour, you really need precision. So now you just have to try 100 times until you fluke your way into a clean run. Now that's how you design a game. I did a couple of film challenges, and next thing you know, I'm Skater of the Year. You get this screen, and you're done. There are some levels that I only did one event in, and some that I never went to at all. I could go back and complete all the challenges I skipped, but why bother? My entire playtime of the game was 2 hours and 35 minutes, that's it. I completed 56 events at an average of 3 minutes each. At the time, I would say this game was probably pretty great. The graphics are good, it plays well, and there are a lot of levels to explore. The problem is that every challenge is terrible. It's a chore. Every time I saw a new checkpoint challenge or death race or anything, I just had to grit my teeth and get it over with. Once you unlock everything, you could go free skate stuff and even watch replays. The level design is good and the load times are really short, so it's not a problem to jump back and forth. I would love to see an updated version of this. There are some good tablet games right now, but I would love to see a well-animated third-person game with film challenges and things like that. Now there was an iOS version of Skate It, but I only have Android stuff, so I haven't had a chance to try it out. Is Skate It for the DS worth it? Well, you can buy it for about $2 to $5. Keep in mind that's about 100 square feet in TrueSkate. So if you still rock a DS, give it a try. It's an okay way to kill time. What about you? Have you played SK8it? I'd especially love to hear about the iOS version. How does that stack up to the current batch of tablet skateboarding games? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you can hit the YouTube like button, and you can subscribe below. After that, I picked out a couple more videos that you might like, a review of TrueSkate, the game that I mentioned earlier, and my latest from the Shred School, a trick tip on how to big spin.